You're starting a business, and everyone's throwing entity acronyms at you like curses in a dark ritual. LLCs, S Corp, C Corp, sole proprietor, partnership. Welcome to Entityville, a town where every business must choose a dwelling. Some entrepreneurs live in exposed cottages with no walls between them and liability monsters lurking outside. Others share haunted mansions where one roommate's mistake can destroy everyone. It feels like one wrong move could haunt you forever and turn your business into the Entityville horror. Here's the truth. There is no single best structure, but there is a best structure for your specific situation. I'm Julie King with King Patent Law, and over the next 3 days, I'm walking you through the 4 main business structures so you can choose the right dwelling in Entityville and don't end up in the Entityville horror. Today, we're starting with the 2 most dangerous structures, sole proprietorships and partnerships. These are the exposed dwellings where liability monsters can destroy everything you own with ease. Let's explore why these structures are so risky and when you need to get out immediately. Your business entity structure affects liability protection, meaning whether your personal assets are at risk if the business gets sued, tax treatment, meaning how much you pay in taxes and when. Credibility, meaning how vendors and customers perceive you. Fundraising ability, meaning whether you can raise capital. And administrative burden, meaning how much paperwork you'll deal with. Now, I've seen businesses make the wrong choice and pay dearly, like the sole proprietor who lost their family home in a lawsuit because they had zero protection, and the partnership that imploded when one partner racked up debt the other became responsible for. These are real consequences of dwelling in the wrong business structure. Tomorrow, we'll explore the fortress that protects you, the LLC. But today, let's talk about the structures you need to avoid. First, we'll look at the exposed cottage of sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is when you and the business are legally the same entity. There's no separation, no walls, no protection. A sole proprietorship is formed pretty much automatically. If you start selling products or services without forming an LLC or corporation or partnership, you're a sole proprietor. Now, you might file a doing business as or DBA name with your county or wherever you're required to do that in your state, but that's just a name registration. It does not create a separate legal entity. Now, I get it. The exposed cottage looks appealing at first. It's cute on the outside. Some of its advantages are being the simplest possible structure with no formation paperwork except maybe that DBA, being the cheapest to start because there are no filing fees aside from that DBA, which is generally inexpensive. It gives you total control. You make all the decisions. And you have easy tax filing. You just report the income on your personal tax return, Schedule C, and there's no ongoing compliance, no annual reports, no board meetings. For someone testing a business idea or running an extremely low-risk side gig, this can work temporarily. But the monsters are right outside. The biggest threat of a sole proprietorship is zero liability protection. If your business gets sued, you get sued. If your business incurs debt, you owe that debt. If a customer is injured, they can come after your house, your car, your savings, your retirement accounts, everything you own personally. Let me say that again. Everything you own personally is at risk. There is no legal separation between you and the business. A judgment against the business is a judgment against you as the individual. Other problems include it makes it harder to get business loans, it's difficult to attract investors, there are credibility issues, and there's no continuity. If you die, the business dies. And there's limited growth potential. Here's the bottom line on sole proprietorships. That exposed cottage is only appropriate for very low-risk activities with professional insurance, testing a business idea before committing, and businesses with minimal revenue and no employees. If you have any meaningful liability risk, employees, significant revenue, or valuable personal assets to protect, get out of this structure immediately. Form an LLC. We'll talk about that tomorrow. For now, we move on to exploring the shared haunted mansion of partnerships. A partnership is two or more people running a business together. You share the mansion, but it's haunted by liability because you also share responsibility for everything that happens inside it, even things your partners do without your knowledge. Here's a scary fact. A general partnership can form automatically just by operating a business with someone else. If you start a business with someone else and don't file formation documents for an LLC or corporation, you've created a general partnership by default, whether you intended to or not. Here's why that shared mansion can turn into a haunting nightmare. The terrifying rule of general partnerships is that each partner is personally liable for all business debts and obligations, even ones created by another partner. If your partner signs a lease, takes out a loan, or causes a lawsuit, you are personally liable even if you had no knowledge of their actions and didn't approve them. Here's why you should almost never choose partnership as a business entity structure. The critical disadvantages are unlimited personal liability for all partnership debts. Partners can bind each other, meaning one partner's actions obligate all partners. Partnership disputes are expensive and messy. Default rules may not reflect your intentions, and there's just no continuity. A partnership dissolves when a partner leaves or dies. I mentioned default rules, and here's how state default rules can haunt a partnership. If you don't have a written partnership agreement, your state's default laws govern. That usually means profits are split equally, even if one partner contributed more. Major decisions require unanimous consent, and the partnership dissolves automatically when any partner leaves or dies. Now, these defaults may be completely contrary to what you intended. Here's the partnership bottom line. A partnership is best for almost no one. Seriously, the only scenario where a partnership makes sense is a very short-term, very low-risk collaboration when forming an LLC isn't worth the cost. And by all means, never, ever, 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 ever operate as a general partnership. If you're going into business with someone else, form an LLC instead. The shared haunted mansion of a partnership is dangerous. If you're going to share a dwelling, make it a fortress, which is exactly what we're going to cover tomorrow. So to recap, the exposed cottage of sole proprietorship gives you zero liability protection, puts everything you own personally at risk, and is only acceptable for very low-risk activities. And even then, only temporarily. The shared haunted mansion of partnership can make you liable for your partner's debts and gives you no protection from personal liability. Form an LLC instead. Tomorrow, we're exploring the fortress that is the limited liability company, aka the LLC. The LLC is the most popular business structure in America for good reason. It provides liability protection, tax flexibility, and credibility without excessive formalities. I'll show you how LLCs work, why they're so popular, when piercing the corporate veil destroys your protection, Illinois-specific requirements for professional LLCs, and what series LLCs are and what they're useful for. If you're currently operating as a sole proprietor or partnership in Illinois with any meaningful liability risk, please don't wait. Schedule a consultation at kingpatentlaw.com or call 217-714-8558. We'll help you get into a structure that actually protects you. Avoid those legal horrors and keep rocking your IP. I'm Julie King with King Patent Law. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for the LLC Fortress. This information is for educational purposes only, is not legal advice, and does not form an attorney-client relationship. Business entity law varies by state. For advice about your specific situation, consult with a licensed attorney.